All right, so the plot thickens. For those of you who don't know, the Rams have reached out to the Dolphins about acquiring Jalen Ramsey. So we're going to get into what this means, if there's any legs to this, if this is just smoke. Before we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan, including Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Kick. In addition to that, just want to remind you guys that on Thursday, the NFL Draft, we are doing the NFL Draft Stream. I believe this is the 6th annual NFL Draft Stream. Downtown Rams, Alexis Kraft, and myself. So be sure to tune in for that. And, of course, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss in a notification when we go live. Yeah, this is interesting. So today, Sean McVay, Les Snead, pressers, right? And Les Snead, Sean McVay did not rule out the possibility of a reunion with Jalen Ramsey, according to Stu Jackson of the Rams. I thought that was really interesting because though they both said there are lots of layers to get through between the draft, getting back with pro scouting staff and expecting Ramsey to have interest from other teams. Now, what does this all mean? Well, the Rams are interested in Jalen Ramsey. As I've said, I told you they really like this guy. When he left the building, that wasn't them trading him away to get rid of him. That was them trading him away, realizing they had to do some really tough things to get back on track cap-wise. So the bill came due, and unfortunately, they had to pay it. And they weren't really wanting to pay it, but they had to. And so Jalen Ramsey, of course, wanted to go to Miami when he realized he was no longer going to be a Ram, and the Rams sent him there. And this kind of coincides with why the Rams do what they do. It's not always for the player in case he wants to come back, but it does look good on the outside. If you're like, yeah, we'll take less draft capital or whatever, we just want to make sure you go to the right location. Is that the best interest in your football team? Well, apparently, if it does land Jalen Ramsey a few years after, I would say it is the best interest of the football team. So, Snead has said that they had discussions with the Dolphins as part of standard annual draft week conversations every team has. And they talked about getting through the draft, and he said he's unsure where they are in the process. So, that's interesting. Obviously, everybody has conversation, all that, but I think they are telling us straight up that there is interest here and the door is open for a Ramsey return. What is it going to cost? I think they're basically telling us that we have no idea because it's not going to be a part of this draft. That's kind of what they're saying. Now, that could be smoke and they could actually make a draft day trade, certainly possible. But I tend to believe and agree that, yeah, this feels like an after the draft thing. There's a lot of layers. Jalen Ramsey could get cut also. Like, they might not even be able to trade him. But I do think if he wants to come back to the Rams, which he does, and if the Rams want to bring him back, which they do, if they can come to an agreement and he's not traded away to another team beforehand, I think he's going to be a Ram. Like, I really believe this guy is going to return if they can make it happen. Now, if they can't make it happen, and it's just going to be way too difficult and okay, fine. But I think both sides have mutual interest. They've maintained that for a while, and I have no reason to suspect anything other. Jalen Ramsey has wanted to stay a Ram. He wanted to stay a Ram before he was traded, wanted to come back to the Rams, and the Rams have always loved Jalen Ramsey, and they still rave about him. And they saw him last year when he played for the Dolphins against them on that primetime game. So they love Ramsey. Ramsey loves the Rams. Ramsey is a Ram. When it's all said and done, and he's likely in the Hall of Fame, or let's just assume he does get there, what are you going to remember Jalen Ramsey wearing? What jersey? A Jaguars jersey? No. You're going to remember him wearing the Dolphins jersey? No. It'll be a Rams jersey. He is a Ram. And so I think that this is definitely real. I don't think that this is any of that pre-draft like smokescreen stuff. Now, if it was, it makes sense to kind of put that out there because you already have Ahkello Witherspoon, Darius Williams, Kobe Durant, Emmanuel Forbes Jr., Darion Kendrick, and if you add Jalen Ramsey, well, now the idea of that, putting that out there, it's like, oh, the Rams aren't going to be interested in a corner, so yeah, we won't take one here because even though the Rams pick, right after us, they're not going to pick a corner. So that's kind of how, in a way, that's how I see it, right? But at the same time, they might not be doing that. And just because everything is out there and the assumption is, oh, yeah, well, they're doing that to, get them to believe this and, zig when, we zag and all that stuff. But the reality is that sometimes teams are just fine letting news get out there. Like sometimes teams are okay with it. It happens all the time. I mean, the Jets are one of the leakiest organizations, maybe not as much anymore, but it's like you always knew what the Jets were going to do in the draft. It was like a running joke, right? So sometimes it's just not really a care in the world. And sometimes you're just, okay. And then also keep this in mind. It's no different when you're doing a mock draft. You don't know who you're going to pick. You're having a hard time figuring out. And so you're like, all right, I'll trade down and let the other teams decide for me because they're hard decisions to make. And it's like, oh, well, now the decision's easy. He fell down the board. That's my guy. It's no different than that. So do I think Jalen Ramsey ends up as a Ram? Right now, I would say probably 65% chance. Yes, I do think he is going to be a Ram, and I've maintained that. But 65% chance is not 100% chance, right? It is more than half. And I do think that this is a perfect fit for him playing alongside Ahkello Witherspoon. They would likely be able to trade away Darius Williams for maybe some late draft capital in 2026. But the reality is I do think this is real. I think you should keep an eye on it. I'm not guaranteeing he's back, but I do believe he's going to be back. And by, again, me believing, it's not me saying 100%, but 65% chance, yeah, I'd probably say it's more than likely he will be a Ram. It's the best fit for him. It's the best fit for the Rams. Only has to be a 1-year thing, and then they can move, go their separate ways. But playing him next to Ahkello Witherspoon, I think, makes a lot of sense. So those are my takes. That's my thought. Not anything too crazy, but enough to do a video on because, I mean, they did talk with the Rams. They are the Dolphins, and they've had those discussions. So we'll see. I like that they addressed it. And to be fair, you could think one thing like, oh, yeah, of course they're going to just say that. They don't always say that. Like Sean McVay was pretty upfront about Cooper Kupp returning, and he said, yeah, that's unlikely. That's the most unlikely scenario. And there have been players in the past like, oh, yeah, that'd be a cool reunion, but yeah, we're probably not going to go that route. Talked about that with Brandon Cooks in the past. It's happened. So to see him be like, yeah, we would be open to this in some facet. Like if we can make it work, and there are a lot of layers here, but he didn't outright say no. Les Snead, Sean McVay didn't say no. So keep an eye on this. I'm telling you, I don't know what number he would wear. Would it be 5? Would it be 20? Would he wear, I don't know, 8? Like would he ask a verse for 8? I don't know. I have no idea what he would wear. But point being is 65% chance Jalen Ramsey is back with the Rams. And I would adjust those mock drafts accordingly. Does that mean that they won't draft a cornerback early? No. But there are options out there. Because as I said, if Ramsey doesn't go through and they really want another corner, but they want a guy that they feel like is ready to play right away, Jair Alexander's sitting there in Green Bay, and Sean McVay is best friends with Matt LaFleur. Obviously, they're competitors. I'm not saying it would be cheap, but there you go. There's another option. So, again, it's worth mentioning that after the Rams signed Ahkello Witherspoon, they were still looking at the cornerback position. And, yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And follow me on all social media at JKBogan. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, folks. Later. All right, guys. So once again, just want to let you guys know that you can check out my new side project, The Lounge. I interview athletes, musicians, actors, actresses, all the nine. So definitely check it out over on the Lounge with Jake Ellenbogen channel. Be sure to subscribe and enjoy. In case you guys haven't noticed, I do have a Discord channel for my community on this channel. And if you want to be a part of it, it is free. The link is in the description below. You can sign up. This is basically a 24/7 Rams channel, and we are almost at 1,100 members. So if you want to be a part of it, just hit the link in the description below.